Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be continuing our story, and this is probably one that pretty much everybody knows that they've read the Bible. It's called a golden calf, based on Exodus chapter 32. Alright, let's go ahead and read this. God gives Moses more laws, and when these laws are written, because he goes up on the mountain, away from everybody, leaves Aaron in charge to write, the commandments on the stones. Whereas, get the stones ready, God has put this message on these stones, which is the 10 Commandments, which will be in the Ark of the Covenant. God gives Moses more laws, and when these are written down, Moses builds an altar. He and his people make an agreement or covenant with God. The people promise to follow all the Lord's commandments. Later, God calls Moses to come again to Mount Sinai, as I was saying, where he will give Moses the law written on stone tablets. Joshua goes partway with him. Days pass, and Moses does not return. When is Moses coming back? Can we go look for him? We don't know when Moses will be back, but you must not follow him up the mountain. He is alone with God. Who knows, maybe Moses isn't coming back, because he's been gone for quite some time now. If he doesn't come back, what will we do? So they begin to worry, what are we going to do? Instead of trusting in God, being patient, let's ask Aaron to make us a statue to worship. Yes, we want to a God we can see. So they get selfish. They want a God they can see. So they ask Aaron, and Aaron shouldn't have done this, but to make something they can worship that they could see. Feeling lost without their leader, the people forget God's commandments and their promise to worship only God. They bring their jewelry to Aaron, who melts it down and makes a golden statue of a calf or a cow. It looks just like one of the gods our neighbors worshipped in Egypt. Tomorrow we will have will be a feast day. We will worship our new God then. Early next morning, the people bring their offerings to the altar before the golden calf. They eat and drink and dance in joy. So instead of, they forgot the commandments. I skipped a page. They had forgotten, the commandment and the promise to God that they had, thou shalt not worship any other gods but me. He's very stern on that one. And the God could be anybody. Oftentimes it is something like that, like a golden calf, or, the false god like Dagon that we will see in the future and things like that. But it could be really anything that's taking your time over God. Instead of giving that time to God, you're doing something else, and that is your God. Whether it's your phone, it could be your phone, it could be TV, it could be a car. That could be your God, that you almost worship it in a way that you spend all your time in it, and, never giving God time or anything like that. But while the people are celebrating, Moses comes down the mountain with the tablets on which God has written the 10 Commandments on the way he meets Joshua. These are amazing tablets God has written on himself. He comes down with Joshua, though. Listen, Moses, it sounds like a war in our camp. No, I hear singing, don't you? Moses can't believe what he sees. How dare you cheat God? You promised to worship only God, and you already worshiping the statue calf. And he throws the commandments, and they break. And you can only imagine how furious he would be. It almost makes me mad just looking at it and reading this. He goes away for a small period of time. Instead of trusting God and worshiping God, they sit there and build a golden calf to worship. How ignorant can you be, dude? That is, then people, no offense, but they're just dumb, dude. That was just dumb of them. Shocked by the sight of Moses breaking the stone tablets, the people have stopped worshiping the golden calf. What will Moses do to us? Aaron, who made this idol. It's not my fault. The people gave me their gold. I just threw it into the fire, and out came the golden calf. Then throw it back into the fire. Aaron shouldn't even have done that. He should not have done that. But Moses melts down their idol, grinds up the gold, and dumps it to the river. Now all of you drink this water. And they're like, drink it. As they begin to drink it, it's awful. Oh, this will make me sick. Just drink it. Let this be a lesson to you. Ponder your faithlessness while I go back up the mountain and ask God to forgive you. High on the mountain where he received God's commandments, Moses kneels to pray. These are a stubborn, rebellious people. Leave me, Moses, so I may destroy them. Lord, please forgive them. And that's what God says to him. These are a stubborn and rebellious people. Leave me, Moses, so I can destroy them. God was very stern. I mean, come on. God had delivered these people from slavery, and all they had done is complained, disobeyed him, and, this was just a slap in the face to him. But Moses calls out, Lord, please forgive them. You promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to bless their descendants. I know they don't deserve it, but if you destroy them, the other nations will think that you can't fulfill your promises. Back in the camp, the people pray for Moses' safe return. They hope beyond hope that the Lord will forgive them. But when they see Moses coming down the mountain, they are terrified. It's Moses, but look at his face. It's bright as the sun. So as he comes down, his face is glowing. And they're like, what? The glory of having been with God shines on Moses' face. He covers his face with a veil so that the people will not be frightened. Don't be afraid. God has forgiven you. So, that would be incredible as they come down and see that. And, of course, he remade the commandments, which as we'll see, going on to the Ark of the Covenant, which is something that only, I believe, the priest could touch, because if not, you could be turned to dust regardless. I hope you guys learned something. We've all come to victim of, wanting to do something else and go to church or listen to, a preacher, or to read the Bible. We'd rather watch TV or something like that, you know what I mean? But everybody falls a victim to that. But you have to be careful, because them things can become your idols. They can become your God that you worship. It's not always in the form of an actual, like Zeus or something like that, but it can be. So, just make sure you're always giving the time to God. He's been with us, this whole time. He never leave you nor forsake you, and you shouldn't, basically like what they did. They slapped him in the face. You shouldn't, be like that towards God. You should, serve him and become a warrior of Christ. Hopefully you guys learned something new. As always, take it easy, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.